I believe we gon' face everything. I believe that we will win. It's not how you fall, it's how you get back up. And what don't kill us make us stronger, boy. Bet that up. Take a swing at us, you better hit hard. Cause when we swing back, it's like, oh God, it's time to knuckle up and fight hard. Now let's all buckle up and fight hard. Que Dios bendiga a todas tus familias, mi amigo. Se parta mandito, vamos a darle duro este video.
Well, hello and welcome to the land in Pullman, Washington, as we get you set for another edition of the Jen Greeny Coaches Show. Steve Grubbs along with Cougar head coach Jen Greeny, and every time I see that video leading into this, I get a little pumped up. What about when you see that video and get ready for either a night like this or certainly when you're at Bohler Gymnasium and get ready for volleyball action?
I love that video. I love what our marketing team has done with the video board and just the production. I know our players really appreciate that. Those of you that have been in Bohler Gym, we also had a new addition of we can turn the lights out now.
Yeah.
I mean, now we're big time. We sometimes can't figure out how to turn them back on, but we got that figured out after the first one. But, super excited, and that's what we want. We want the players, to be pumped up. We want the crowd to be into it. And, yeah, I love that video. That whole word believe, that's what this season is all about.
Indeed it is. Again, we welcome you in. It is another edition of the Jen Greeny Coaches Show. It's been a few weeks since we've been here, so it's great to be back at the land. Great to see all the familiar faces again along with us. And whether you're tuning in on Facebook Live or going to catch us a little bit later, we are certainly happy to have you with us. 18-3 on the season, 8-2 in Pac-12 conference play, ranked 6th in the country. All very good things for Washington State University volleyball at this stage of the season. Coach, on Sunday, we reached the midway point of the Pac-12 conference. We played 20 matches in the conference. We got to number 10 with the win over UCLA on Sunday. I know that you and I have talked about this in the past where you kind of break it down, non-conference, first half of conference play. We're getting set for the second half of conference play, and then certainly it all looks great for the postseason, and that's kind of the fourth segment of it. As you take a look and you've seen these first two segments play out, and somebody told you 18-3, 8-2 in the conference, pretty good numbers. What do you think about where we sit right now heading into the second half of conference play?
Yeah, I think we sit, in a great place after the preseason, and we only had one loss. I was like, okay, we're sitting pretty good. After I think the last time we talked, then we had only also lost to a great Stanford team. And we dropped one last weekend to UCLA or to USC, but bounced back great against UCLA. That's a tough road trip. And, 10 years ago, if you would have said, hey, you're going to split on the road at the LA schools, I would have said, that sounds great to me. But, it just shows where this program has come. And so, yeah, of course, we never want to lose, but, we're on to the next and really focusing on these next few weeks.
Couple of things on that real quick. And again, it was interesting talking to you Friday night, and I've talked to other people about this. It's not like you were scary or anything. And we've talked after losses before, but I just didn't even know how to talk hardly on that Friday.
I'm not scary? I think actually a lot of people think I'm scary.
Maybe you should be scary to me, but you're not scary to me. But it was weird because we have these high expectations, which is great. But at the same time, we do play in a Power 5 conference, and that's what is so great about being in a conference like this, because every team has players. Every team has at least one, and usually 2, 3, 4, and certainly we're amongst that group that has that many. But they've got players that can compete, and that shows you that every night out in a conference like this, it's going to be a battle, isn't it?
It is, and that's funny that you bring that up because, yeah, I kind of forget what it's like to lose, and that's a great feeling. I don't want to know what it's like to lose or remember what it's like. So I think part of that is having a short memory after you lose. Of course, learning from it, But we had to bounce right back and, play a tough UCLA team that I think is just kind of coming into their own. They have a new coach. They're trying to find their system. They had an injury, and they played pretty well on Sunday. And so, that's an interesting place to be. But all these teams are great. They have great athletes and great coaches, and that's why we have to play every single match one at a time.
I mean, talent standpoint, these two teams that we just played should be fringe, if not in NCAA tournament type teams with the talent they have, don't you think?
Yes, absolutely. And I think part of that is, just their preseason schedules. They, didn't play really well for whatever reason. But, now we're into the Pac-12, and we'll have to see them again. Of course, they'll have to come to Bohler Gym. But with their talent, they're pretty scary as well.
Yeah, we've got 5 matches left at Bohler Gymnasium. We will be talking about this throughout the night. Limited amount of opportunities for you to come out and watch this team. We need you there Friday night against the Oregon Ducks. We know that you're going to fill up Bohler Gymnasium. That's going to be a big-time matchup. We also need you Sunday afternoon against the Oregon State University Beavers at 2 o'clock. Because, again, we're down to just a handful of regular season opportunities to root on this team at Bohler Gymnasium. Let's go back to that weekend in LA. You ended up with a tough loss on Friday. The first 2 sets, you took the first set, and then it was a back and forth affair at the end of the second set, and they took it. How important was it to come out of the locker room the way you guys did and turn that match around and make sure that we came out of LA with a victory?
Yeah, super important. I think, we had our chances there to take that set. We just couldn't get it finished. And, that's something that we're talking about this week in practice is really finishing what we call in the red zone. Take that from football. It's from 20 points on. And if we have that, set point, we need to finish that. And, credit to UCLA that they came out and took that set, but we really came out of the locker room, on fire and really focused. So proud of our team for responding and getting that win.
How about Pia Timmer in sets 3 and 4? She had 3 kills after the opening 2 sets, 10 kills alone in the third set, and 16 of her 19 kills came in sets 3 and 4. What about the way she responded and the way she led this team? I don't know if you can say put them on her back, but she was certainly one major force to why we came out of there with a victory.
Yeah, you're exactly right. I think, Pia's one of those players that, in my opinion, can do that almost every night if she wants to. And so maybe she just got a little fired up and decided, okay, we're done with this. When she started to get hot, we were like, okay, Argentina, just feed her the ball. Here's your priority to get Pia the ball. And she's one of those players that can certainly do that. And she not only did it from the front row, but she started digging. She served extremely well, which, she is normally great from the service line. Pia was fantastic during that match.
As your team went along over the course of this last 6 matches since we've last been here at the Land, you didn't serve especially great against Stanford. I don't think you served bad against Stanford, but has that also been a focus, the service line over the last couple of weeks?
Yeah, for sure. Just to be a little more aggressive from the service line. Stanford is someone that serves extremely aggressively, but they also miss a lot. I think when they played here in Bohler Gym, they missed, 17 or whatever that was. We don't want to miss that many, but we want to still be more aggressive, and I think especially against UCLA, that's what we did.
Okay, again, Washington State sitting 18-3 overall. They're sitting 8-2 in the Pac-12 conference. You now get ready for the second go-around where you're going to see all 10 of these teams a second time. Is it kind of a case-by-case basis with each team? Do you make many adjustments? Do you kind of let things flow? Or is it, like I said, case-by-case when you go around and see these teams a second time?
Yeah, I think for us, we try and, second time around, maybe put a little wrinkle into, maybe an offensive scheme or something that people haven't seen. Try to, but, volleyball's an interesting sport that you can only really do so much depending on passing and setting and what the other team is doing as well. But, we've been pretty good in the first half, so just trying to continue to get better on the little things and, just see what we can do. But it's always interesting playing those teams a second time around.
Again, half of them in Pullman, half of them will be on the road, including this weekend. Want you to be at Bohler Gymnasium, 7 o'clock Friday night for the Oregon Ducks. They're coming into town. It's going to be a 2 o'clock matchup against the Oregon State University Beavers. Again, the Cougars 6th in the country, sitting at 18-3 on the season and 8-2 in Pac-12 conference, which is good enough for second place behind the Stanford Cardinals. So again, all good things when it comes to Washington State. Got a few questions. Do you mind having a few questions?
I do not mind.
Okay, here's
What
one.
if I said I minded? What would you do?
I probably would have just taken a break and we would have come back and said she doesn't want to answer. No, I figured that you would be open to these.
You're right.
Well, let's start first with somebody asked me on the coin toss. Do you prefer to serve? Do you prefer to serve receive? Do you, is it, again, depending on who you're playing and the game plan for the night, what about the whole thing on whether you would like to serve or serve receive, either in the first set or obviously if you have one in the fifth set?
Yeah, that's a great question. Typically we want to serve the ball. I think we are great from the service line. I think our block does a nice job. I think defensively, we're right there. So typically, Magda is the one that goes and does the coin toss, and she wins a lot. And I don't know if she wins because the other team chooses receive or what, but she thinks she wins a lot. How about that? So we typically choose to serve.
Okay, does she go heads or tails?
I don't know. You'll have
back?
to ask her that. I have not asked her that. I just leave that up to her.
Okay.
I don't know if she's, feels lucky with heads or tails or whatever that is. We'll have to ask her that. But typically she comes back with a smile and says, we're serving.
We're serving. Well,
that's really all that matters.
If she's got a smile on her face before the match, that's a good thing.
Yes,
and
yes.
Speaking of her, what about the number that she got to? And we're going to get into this a little bit more in our second segment with all of your fifth-year players that have come back. 700 total blocks in her career. You obviously were a middle blocker. Your thought when you think of 700 blocks in a career for Magda Halashva?
That's a lot of blocks. I think she's up there with the elite in this country as far as, all-time numbers and the kind of numbers and blocks that she's put up. I was only a middle for 2 years, so that's why my numbers aren't that great. But no, she is a fantastic blocker, and people across the country know that. And I'm sure she'll get a few more here down the stretch.
No doubt about that. All right, there's been a couple of rule changes since you played. Mm-hmm. The libero. What about the libero when it was first introduced, and how much has that changed college volleyball?
Yeah, I should make Magda play all the way around like I did, right? back in those days. And we also wore very different uniforms,
yes,
too.
We did.
So, yeah, the libero, I think, came in, 2000, 2001, a very different game. We also then had a weird rule in that time that you played to 30. Gosh, that was, too long. So, yeah, I think it has changed the game. It has made it much faster. It is, a lot of people say we'll see them out and about and have young kids. Oh, we're not tall enough. I'm like, there is a place for everyone on a volleyball team, whether you're 5 foot or you're 6'8". There's room for everybody. And so that libero position has really just made the game super fun, and just to have that defensive tenacity back there. And that's also, we won't get into the whole different shirt color. They didn't forget their jersey, but right. I think it has made the game a lot better and more crisp, probably.
Same thing with rally scoring?
Yeah, rally scoring is great. I mean, back in the ancient days, you had to serve to score, and those games took like 3.5 hours. We're not into that. We want to get in, get out, have action on every point, and I think the game is really fun to watch. I mean, you can see that from what's happening across the country now with record crowds, what Nebraska did in their football stadium, record crowds watching on TV. So volleyball is a sport that's up and up.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Did get a question on Facebook about rotation errors, and you had a couple at USC.
I don't think I can comment on that, or I'll get fined. Yeah, not in my 13 years of coaching has that ever happened. So that is now with the head of officials, and we can't do anything about it now. I go back to Gardner Minshew and the USC game, and maybe it's the same referees. I'm not quite sure. Cougs versus everybody. That's all I got to say.
Okay, so there you have it. Again, we want to see you fill up Bohler Gymnasium. You have throughout most of the season. We're back Friday night. Again, it will be the Oregon Ducks versus the Cougars, 7 o'clock. That'll be the opening game of the weekend. Sunday at 2 at Oregon State. We're just getting things started. Happy to have you with us from the land. We'll take a quick break, and then we'll be back with more. It's your Jen Greeny Coaches Show right here on Facebook Live. Happy to have you with us again. We come to you from the Land in Pullman, Washington. Our thanks once again to the folks here at the Land who've been so gracious to host us here throughout the 2023 season. Again, we're down to the final half of the Pac-12 conference season. When you think about that, Coach, and know that you've got 5 road matches, 5 home matches, and then the postseason, and then you have these players, you're probably so into every preparation of every match, you don't think that the season winding down, but I'm sure a little bit, you do realize that we're now into the second half of your conference season. Does it get to you a little bit emotionally at times?
I'm not emotional, Steve. I don't know what you're talking about. So, honestly, after this weekend, we're actually going, because we have so many seniors, we're actually going to celebrate them over the USC-UCLA weekend because we just don't have time, So, and we want them to all, have their time, and their families are coming and things like that. So we're going to celebrate, seniors a little bit early and do it a little bit different than we have done. And that will be emotional, but then we still have some great matches to play, and we'll then kind of celebrate them all together that Wednesday that we play Arizona State as well. So it'll be like the senior month of November,
That's
I think,
great.
that we're going to celebrate. Next Coaches Show, we might get some of them up here and do a little question and answer with them. I think that would be fun.
That would be.
So just, trying to find ways to celebrate them, but at the same time, not cry yet, because we got a long ways to go. But it is. We've been with them for so long. They've done so much for this program, and just trying to keep it going.
No doubt about that. Again, a couple of matches this weekend. Let's talk about some of your fifth-year players that we'll be talking about. We talked about Magden. You said in such elite company. The 700 blocks, obviously, is a school record. It is second all-time in conference history when it comes to total blocks. We mentioned the rally scoring era. She is now 8th all-time nationwide when it comes to nationally, when it comes to blocks in the rally scoring era. And then you add to it more than 1,200 kills. She is now into the top 5 when it comes to matches played, sets played. Again, we've talked a little bit about it on this show. We've talked a little bit about it in our pregame and postgames. But, I mean, such a special young lady, both on and off the court. Let's talk about the on the court first, but what does Magda bring on the court that is just different in your mind?
Yeah, we saw, Shannon and I actually we got to go to Italy and watch her play. That's how Burdette was kind of recruiting her. Shannon and I said, we'll go to Italy. That sounds like fun. It was good. And then we watched her and we were like, yeah, she's pretty good. She gets here and she was even better than we expected. Obviously became the ABCA National Freshman of the Year. For someone, especially from Washington State, to step into that role and get that kind of award and just have the impact that she's had. And she has continued to get better and better. When she got here, she didn't run a slide, which is, that set going off of one foot behind the setter, and now she's doing that remarkably well. She's got a bright future ahead of her playing professionally as well. But yeah, she's an impact player. I'm sure, as coaches are scouting her. I mean, Kevin Hambley from Stanford said to me she's one of the best he's ever seen, and he's seen a lot of good players.
He certainly has. As you look at this remarkable collection of players that you'll be honoring through that LA weekend when USC and UCLA comes in, I think it also bears repeating, not only are they ranked 6th in the country, 18-3, all the things on the court, but let's talk a little bit off the court, academically, and just the type of individuals they are. And I know that's important to you when you go out and recruit your players to be on your team and in your program, because they're not only representing you in our program, but it's also what breeds success within your program.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, when we took over this program, it was not in a good spot academically, and that's just not acceptable to us. We have a standard both on and off the court, and I think we've only had one semester under a 3.0 as team GPA for the entire time that we've been here semester-wise. So very, very impressive for these players, and they know it. I mean, we don't want to make our academic advisors have to work very hard. So I think they appreciate that as well. But yeah, talking specifically about Magda, she was the Pac-12 Scholar Athlete of the Year. And that's for all sports last year. And really remarkable what these athletes do both on and off the court.
Pia Temmer, we talked about what she was able to do in that UCLA match. She's now third all-time in aces in Cougar history. LaToya Harris, a name that a lot of Cougar volleyball fans might remember. And how about Penny Tusa, the all-time ace queen? Those are the only two that right now have more aces than Pia Temmer. And she's now within 2 of Megan Ganser for 4th all-time on the career kill list. So again, 6 rotation player and what she brings. And she's also approaching 1,000 digs in her career as well, Pia Temmer.
Yeah, and I think, sometimes, I don't think Meg tries to overshadow anyone. But, Pia is one of those players that has played, so many rotations. And like you talked about, both front row, back row. Has to do it all, gets served at, has to serve, has to dig. And she has had some incredible matches, and those are incredible numbers that she has had. And what a fantastic player, and both of them coming in together, a really special duo.
No doubt about that. If we take a look at the front row, you got to also include Amon Asanovic and Katie Ryan, what they brought. Of course, Amon transferring in. Obviously had the tremendous career in Tempe before she got to Pullman, but what they've been able to do, I don't even want to say is complimentary, because on any given night they could be the star of any team, but what they've been able to bring to your attack, and then obviously Argentina setting up the ball to those attackers, and it's been a well-balanced attack, and that's part of what makes us so threatening from this point going forward, is because you have not only 1 or 2 players, but you've got a handful of players that can help you on any given night to pick up a victory.
Yeah, you're exactly right. I think any setter in the country would love this, front row, back row, that Argentina gets to kind of pick and choose, who's hot that night or who is going against a weaker block or whatever that might be. But both Katie and Amon have done a fantastic job, and you're exactly right. Sometimes it might be both outsides that are hot go off. Sometimes it's Katie, sometimes it's Magda, sometimes it's everybody. But that's what we need. If somebody isn't feeling it that night, that we need some other people to kind of step up and take that pressure off of that hitter. And I think we did that a little bit on Sunday.
And I think if you look back at what has transpired over the course of the Pac-12 conference season, your back row, I think, has really started to step up as well. And Carly Basham, obviously the libero, but also Julia Norville, and the experience that she brings could be a libero on a lot of other teams, not only in the conference but around the country. Carly already approaching 1,300 digs in her career, if you count in her numbers from Texas A&M, has 1,000 now in a Cougar uniform. Julia Norville, 4 digs shy of 1,000, so you could have 2 back row players with 1,000 digs on your team as well, and probably will have as of Friday night. So, and then both also a threat from the service line. Carly, more than 100 career aces. Julia, obviously 116 career aces. She's up to 8th all-time on the Cougar list. So what about those 2 individuals?
Yeah, you're right. I mean, I think, again, those players, the littles, we call them, that they don't get that credit, but they make some incredible plays back there. Julia has, I think, had a really, really good season overall from the service line and digging. And then, Carly's great. She's kind of our little engine that could, fiery all the time, makes some great plays. Teammates like to play with her. So, these guys, I think just the team as a whole, but you need those people as well. So it's not just 1, it's not just 2, it's everybody, and it's the bench players and our male practice players that come in and make us better. It's our trainer, our strength coach. So it's you from the radio, Grubs. I mean, it's a whole team effort here at Cougar Volleyball.
Well, let's talk a little more about what we've got coming up next. Again, 10 matches. I want to talk about this upcoming weekend with Oregon and Oregon State and just what we've seen at Bohler Gymnasium so far this season. We talked about it in the past on this coaches show, but I want to bring it up again. The renovations that have been done, the TerraFlex court, the block, the way you've seen the crowds pile in, and again, with only 5 home matches left in the regular season, what about Bohler has made it even more special in 2023 for you?
Yeah, I just absolutely love the new addition of the block and what the students are doing. When we fill it and it's loud, it is the toughest place to play in the country, I think. And we cannot do that without the support of, we raised that money ourselves, over $800,000 for the bleachers and the floor. And so we cannot do that without the support of, those out there. So if you're on Facebook Live right now or you watch it later, We've got a little link here that you can donate, and no amount is too small. We'll take your money any way you want to give it to us. But we have, other projects as well. We need to get up the new, we're going to call it the Ring of Honor. We need to honor those players that have received, awards. We haven't updated that since 2018. So that's kind of the next thing on the books, and we still want to make Bohler even better than it has been. I mean, if you're, again, seeing this on Facebook Live, this is just what it looks like as people are piling in for the Stanford match. Super fun atmosphere. I think it's the best place to be in Pullman and the surrounding area on any Friday night that we're home. So we'll see everybody Friday night, and we got to make it loud. We got to make it hard. Oregon is good. We need everybody.
Come on out Friday night, 7 o'clock again, 2 o'clock again. Best way that you as fans can help out, be at Bohler Gymnasium. And again, if you want to take a picture of that QR code and help give back to Cougar Volleyball, you can do that as well. Again, it's the Jen Greeny Coaches Show. Talk a little bit more about Oregon and Oregon State, and then we will kind of put a little bit of a finishing touch on the show when we come back. It's Land from Pullman, Washington. It's the Jen Greeny Coaches Show right here on Facebook Live. Well, we are back here at the Land in Pullman, Washington. Jen Greeny Coaches Show. Again, our thanks to everybody who has showed up. Our thanks to the Land who continues to host us throughout this remarkable 2023 season that has seen the Cougars spend the last few weeks inside the top 10, ranked 6th in the country, 18-3 so far. Also sitting at 8-2 in the Pac-12 conference. RPI numbers looking pretty good as well. Resume as a whole looking pretty good for Washington State University volleyball. And again, now just getting ready for this stretch run where you play these teams outside of Arizona State who will play for the first time this season. Everybody a second go around. So again, into that final stretch run here over the next 4 or 5 weeks before the regular season comes to a close.
Yeah, you're exactly right. I mean, this is October always seems like kind of a long month, and you have been going for a while. You aren't quite to the end, and I think this is really our toughest stretch is going to the LAs. We've got Oregon's at home. We go to the Bay Area, but we had a great weekend when we went to Oregon, got that win at Oregon. Oregon is absolutely tough, like I talked about before. So they'll be ready for us. They're very talented, but like we talked about, we got to get those fans out to Bohler Gym, make it a tough place to play, something to prove as well.
What a way to start the match when we rattled off all those consecutive points to get things started, and then what a way to finish the match with Pia Timmer at the service line to make sure we got it done in 4. Anything else about the Ducks? I don't want to give away any trade secrets, but other than just 2 top 10 teams squaring off and what's going to be perhaps the best environment for a college volleyball match in the country on Friday night.
Yeah, for sure. I think I watched a little bit of their Stanford match. I think they're trying to set their middle a little bit more. Who knows? I think a lot of teams are trying to do that, but yeah, you just never know. We got to serve tough. We got to make them predictable. Do what we do with Washington State volleyball, and offensively, we have to pass well and be in system.
Again, Saturday, 2 o'clock, or not Saturday, excuse me, Sunday at 2 o'clock as the Oregon State Beavers will be in town. So we are probably already making plans for Friday night. I know a lot of people are, but make plans to be there Sunday afternoon at 2 as well, because again, 2 matches here against the Oregon schools, the seniors being celebrated, the LA weekend, then your final home match. I mean, why not just show up for all 5 of them, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Like we talked about, there's not much time to see this team. I got on a little bit of soapbox last time. We didn't have a great crowd on a Sunday. That do not take this team for granted. It does not come along. So, and Oregon State is our sister school. So let's get out there and, we want to beat them, of course, but, support them as well.
Indeed, it's going to be Bohler Gymnasium. It's going to be a tremendous finish to October and then the entire month of November. Any other parting shots, any other final thoughts as we get ready to wrap things up here for this edition of the Jen Greeny Coaches Show?
No, I don't think so. I mean, I love coming to the land. I love all the fans being here. I mean, it's Taco Tuesday and margaritas. What could be better, right? Let's go. Love supporting the land. I mean, I used to live right next door, Merman Drive here.
Yeah?
Shannon and I
just
did.
down the road.
Trivia question, if you were wondering. 12F.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. But yeah, we love being here. We love being in Pullman and the fan support. And so we'll be back before that LA weekend. Like I talked about, probably bring some seniors up, make them talk. But it'll be a great night, and we'll see everybody this weekend.
All right. Again, we'll be back here in a couple of weeks. But between now and then, Friday night, Oregon, 7 o'clock. Sunday afternoon, Oregon State. Then we'll make our trip to the Bay Area, Stanford and California. Those should be a couple of fun matches as well. Looking forward to the next couple of weeks. And again, our thanks to everybody, whether you're here in the land, whether you're across the Palouse and tuning in on Facebook Live, and of course to you, the Jen Greeny Coaches Show. Thank you, Coach, for joining us.
Thanks. Go Cougs.
Go. That's going to do it for us. We say so long from the land. We'll see you Friday night and Sunday afternoon at Bohler Gymnasium. This has been the Cougar Jen Greeny Coaches Show on Facebook Live.